Ripple wants to capture a portion of the quadrillion dollar financial markets, bringing assets on chain, and they're going to utilize the XRP ledger to do so. Now, this session is going to get a little spicy too, because we're also talking about an ex-Ripple employee getting in trouble for some campaign finance charges. Innocent till proven guilty. We'll take a look at what all that's about. If you guys appreciate the updates, please make sure that you like all of our videos, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and everything's at ZachRector.com. We're getting started off here, folks, with the markets back down today. Dow Jones taking a hit, NASDAQ 100 taking a hit, along with the S&P 500 also back down today. Why? Well, our economy's not as strong as they were leading us to believe. Jobless claims edge higher, but layoffs remain low even as the U.S. labor market cools. The number of Americans who applied for unemployment benefits last week inched up to 232,000, but it was another low reading that signals few people are being laid off even as jobs become harder to find. This rose by 4,000 in the 7 days that ended August 17th, up from 228,000 in the prior week. Economists polled by the Wall Street Journal had forecast new claims to total 230,000 based on seasonally adjusted figures. The job market has softened considerably in the past year. A poor July jobs report raised fresh worries about a recession, and the government on Wednesday said that 818,000 fewer jobs were created from April 2023 to March of 2024 than previously reported. And what that means is they are lying to you, as we've been saying, now confirmed by their own data. The weakening labor market, along with slowing inflation, has positioned the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates at its next meeting in mid-September. Some on Wall Street wonder if the Fed will cut interest rates more aggressively than the expected 25 basis point cut. We'll be watching it closely. You guys let me know in the comments down below if you think we're going to get a 25 basis point or a 50 basis point cut in September, or if you think that the Fed is going to stick and play tough, stay hawkish, and actually not cut rates at all. That's kind of an odd one out. The consensus is that we're going to get rate cuts, 25 basis, 50 basis, or no rate cuts at all. You guys let me know in the comments down below. And the real estate industry is begging for it. Let's take a look. This one reported here from Bloomberg. U.S. mortgage rate drops to a 2024 low as buyers await Fed cuts. Taking a look here at this article real quick here for you. Now, mortgage rates in the U.S. resumed their downward path, dropping to a new low for the year. The average for a 30-year fixed loan was 6.46%, down from 6.49% last week, Freddie Mac said in a statement Thursday. Borrowing costs are down significantly after topping 7% earlier this year, giving house hunters more purchasing power and coaxing some would-be buyers off the fence. Sales of previously owned U.S. homes increased in July for the first time in 5 months, the NAR reported on Thursday. But even with the 1.3% gain from the month before, the sales pace was the weakest for any July since 2010, showing that high prices and a shortage of affordable listings are still keeping deals out of reach for many Americans. Buyers and sellers also may be holding off on decisions until financing costs fall further. Now, as I've been saying here, what the Fed is up against is that even if they cut the Fed funds rate, this could actually trigger a sell-off in the bonds, and this could actually take that 10-year back up to a higher interest rate. So right now, it's been coming back down in anticipation of the Fed cutting rates. Basically, investors are locking in yield now in anticipation of the Fed rate cuts. But if the Fed here, and we see weakness, once again, you could actually get a selling off into the bonds, and especially the longer duration bonds, where the 10-year actually could start to tick back up. So even as the Fed's cutting, if the bond market's selling off, that interest rate's going to be going up because that 10-year bond's going to be going back up. Hopefully that's not too confusing for you guys to understand. But, very simply put, even with the Fed cutting here, it's not going to bring relief to the real estate market. And just like we saw during the Great Financial Crisis, the real estate market lags. Interest rates started getting cut in September of 2007. We didn't see the real estate market start to bottom out and really fall off till 2008, 9, and even into 10 and 11. Some markets didn't bottom out till 2012. Now, despite all that, guys, this is just crazy. Now, speaking of, programs to make it easier, well, the interest rates are coming back down. That makes it a little bit easier. But Oregon, taking it one step further than California. California is now doing 0% down payments for new homes for non-residents. I'm going to call them non-residents. But Oregon's taking it one step further and it's offering $30,000 for new home buyers who are undocumented. This program is not open to American citizens, only non-U.S. citizens. So California started with 0% down. Oregon's going to $30,000 down payment assistance. And so now I'm waiting for Washington, my governor, Jay Inslee, to up the ante, and maybe he's going to do $50,000. How about that? And what is that going to do to the cost? We should be in, once again, watching the free market. This is what made our country great, was allowing the free market to set interest rates, to set prices, and to bring about healthy corrections when they were needed, to bring about price appreciation when it was justified based off of supply and demand dynamics, economics 101. But with the amount of manipulation that we have now in all of our markets, it's kept things propped up. If they do go through with these programs, it will keep it propped up even further. And what does this do? It makes it even more difficult for the first-time home buyer or somebody who's looking to buy a new home. Get into that home. We're going to be stuck with a renter nation. You will own nothing and be happy. How about that? Now, let's get spicy with it. What do you guys say? Now, this is interesting. Out of Bloomberg here today, FTX executive's girlfriend faces campaign finance charges. Michelle Bond charged in indictment unsealed Thursday. Ryan Salame says U.S. reneged on his plea deal by charging Bond. So apparently he had agreed that if he was going to plea out, that they were not going to go after his wifey, girlfriend, domestic partner was the official term that they were using. But that was the deal with the government. But the government's turning around here and saying, nope, what you guys did here was unlawful contributions in connection with her unsuccessful run in Congress in 2022. Now, this goes down here. According to the indictment, Bond, 45, of Potomac, Maryland, launched a campaign to represent New York's 1st congressional district in May of 2022. Prosecutors say that Salame, who was identified in court documents as a high-level executive at a now defunct cryptocurrency exchange, arranged for a sham consulting agreement with FTX that paid her $400,000. So Michelle Bond was stepping in here and received a little check of $400,000 big ones from FTX for consulting. The government alleges that Bond then used the money to illegally fund her campaign and that Salame wired hundreds of thousands of dollars to her personal bank account that she also used to finance her run for Congress. The pair discussed how Salame would pay the expenses for her campaign, prosecutors said. Bond, now the chief executive officer of the Digital Future think tank, in July, launched a project to educate and register U.S. voters in key swing states to gain support for pro-cryptocurrency candidates. Digital Future and her lawyers did not immediately respond to emails seeking comment on the indictment. She is scheduled to appear in court in Manhattan today. Now, this gets very interesting. Once again, the FBI searched the Maryland home that Bond shared with Salame. So the FBI's already raided and searched the home. And he pleaded guilty in September and was sentenced to 7.5 years in prison for his role in illegal activities at the cryptocurrency platform before it collapsed. Now, you're wondering, she's ex-Ripple? What was she doing for Ripple? Folks, Michelle Bond was head of government relations. She was the liaison between Ripple and the government, not just the U.S. government, but others as well. Here she is with Monica Long, SVP, and now president of Ripple, and beautiful smiles on the face. Love to see it. And clearly she had some connections with FTX as well. And once again, innocent till proven guilty. I'm not going to comment on it further than that, but we're going to give her day in court. But what's now come into the crosshairs of basically watchdogs, and basically watch groups that are trying to hold, government campaigning and accountability for elections. What's coming to the crosshairs is the political campaign contributions from the crypto industry. Now, this is being shown with Fairshake, that PAC, and how Ripple has donated almost $50 million, I believe, to Fairshake. And they've been one of the biggest political donors this campaign cycle, Ripple has, which I like to see. Now, doing anything illegal like this, I don't like to see. That's not good. But this is part of an arrangement that had nothing to do with Ripple. Let's be very clear about that. So now, what was interesting, though, is that Michelle Bond left Ripple, and she's one that cleaned her LinkedIn of all mentions of her time at Ripple, which now we look back at this and you kind of got to wonder, did Ripple actually fire her and basically ask her to remove all mention of Ripple and to disconnect herself from Ripple because Ripple saw what she was getting in trouble and what kind of domestic partnerships she was getting involved with, which is fine and dandy, right? Ripple wouldn't care at all about that. But the deals, the consulting, and the 400,000 plus hundreds of thousands more that was coming into her bank account to fund that campaign, that's where we start to cross the line. What I do like to see is that Ripple is donating. They are getting involved. I do like to see that. I like to see that they've been at the White House roundtables. I like to see that they've been in Trump's administration as well. I like to see that Ripple's playing both sides of the aisle. And it's not a matter of, a regular politician flip-flopping for both sides. This is just a matter of Ripple hedging their bets accordingly, and it's the right thing to do. Now, speaking of hedging their bets, what Ripple's also doing here is they are minting the first RLUSD on Ethereum. That's right, folks. Just took place here about an hour ago. This is the first 200 RLUSD minted on Ethereum. Yesterday, they minted 185 on XRP Ledger. Today, it's on Ethereum. Why is this important? It's hedging your bets, both sides. It's interoperability. It's bringing liquidity from both ecosystems, or from Ethereum, basically back to the XRP ledger. And very important for the different bridges and the EVM sidechain that Ripple's going to be, seeing launch later this year. This is kind of all the pieces coming together. And one asks, well, how big is this? Ripple's moving billions of dollars now. That's great. Hasn't impacted XRP's price. We'd like to see more. Well, if you'd like to see more, I got just what you're looking for. And once again, who else in the space is speaking on this and these levels of we're going after trillion-dollar problems? We're going after quadrillion-dollar financial markets, bringing them on chain. And if we just get a portion of it, well, we're going to be moving up just a little bit maybe, right? As I've always said, we only have to be 50% right about our thesis for XRP to still create generational wealth, right? If we're correct 100%, well, you guys let me know whose yacht we're going to have our party on. But in the meantime, and I joke about that kind of, but like I said, if we're just 50% right, or in this case, if Ripple just captures a portion of these quadrillion-dollar markets, we go somewhere fun. As I've been saying about Ripple's stablecoin, if they just achieve what Tether's done so far, you're talking about $5 to $10 billion profit per year, just off of this source of cash flow. Not bad for Ripple. This is Senior VP at Ripple, Marcus Infanger, explaining what is next for the XRP ledger in this upcoming bull cycle, shared by Smoke here on X. Huge shout out. I'm not going to play, I want to play this, but unfortunately they got some music going on in this, so I'm not going to play it. But here we got the quotes. Bringing more real-world assets in parts of the traditional finance world on-chain. In the middle of that, great partnerships with Archax and Exceller on working on that. Ripple is currently using blockchain technology today that is compliant with existing regulations, compliance first mindset. Love to see it. We want to capture a portion of the quadrillion dollars in financial markets on chain. So for those of us that are crazy Q quadrillion dollar conversation folks, right? We like to talk about that word that starts with a Q, quadrillions. And as I've always said, the $1 trillion problems are what turn me on. Well, quadrillion gets even better. That's quadrillion with a Q. It's not just us crazy folks. It's Ripple saying that they're looking to target quadrillion dollar markets and just capture a portion. They're not talking about all the money. They're not saying we need to get all the money. And we're not saying that we need to get all the money either. I've been saying, hey, the XRP ledger's ready and prepared for all the money. But just give us a little action. Just give us a piece of this action. We're going to have some fun with it. Regulation is moving crypto from the hype cycle to a utility cycle. Utility cycle incoming. Where does it take XRP? Drop your price predictions in the comments down below. Quadrillions, utility, real-world assets, tokenization. While many are distracted by all the noise in crypto, the serious players in this market are positioning themselves for success in this new paradigm shift. A shift where hype narratives are completely ignored and only utility and solving real-world problems are in this spotlight. This is why it is essential to do the proper research now to prepare for this. Well said by Smoke, and I appreciate him for sharing this with us. Absolutely fantastic. And I wanted to end excuse me, I wanted to end this episode by reading this one off here from my good friend Ashley Prosper. Charles Hoskinson, Charles Gasparino, Charlie, oh, the Charlies. We got the Charlies. We got Raul Paul. We got Michael Novogratz. We got Jimmy Kramer. Are these the kind of people that we should be listening to about XRP? I'll answer that. No, it's not. We have a strong community, and despite our differences, we unite when it matters. Conspiracy theorists, cult members, we've been called it all. Yet we stay strong because we know something they'd prefer we didn't. The financial world is changing, and cryptos like XRP will play a major role. Ask yourself this: why do they even care? And that's a really good question. Are they that concerned with you losing money? No, we know Raul Paul's not. He was talking about we need to be mercenaries, killers. These guys don't care if you lose a little bit of money. Or is it something else? Why so much effort to steer you away from XRP? Why never mention XLM alongside XRP? Once you start asking the questions, the answers reveal themselves. XRP is the greatest threat to the existing financial system known to man. And it is the answer to solving, I know we're called crazy for saying this. This is what prevents wars, right? All wars are bankers' wars. How do you prevent said wars? You introduce a neutral bridge currency. It is the solution. Show me a better one. The only one that compares is gold, but gold isn't as liquid, it's not as transportable, and it's not as efficient as XRP. It's not even close. And so this actually, XRP Ledger and DLT technology actually perfects gold, in my opinion. Gold is the only other solution, along with other commodities, to back your dollars with. And how do you get the interoperability between said dollars? You know, this country that backs their dollar by oil, this country that backs their dollar by gold, this country that backs their dollar by nothing, and it's a fiat currency. How do you get these countries and, institutions within said countries to work together? You insert that neutral bridge currency. It is the solution. It is the biggest threat. And that's why they continuously attack us. And despite the attacks, we continue winning. God bless all of you guys for being here with me today. If you could, smash it on the way out for me. Make sure you guys have subscribed and hit that notification bell. All of our community resources are available at zachrector.com. And when you use the community resources, you are supporting my cause. And I greatly appreciate you for that. We'll see you in the next one. I am your host, Zach Rector. I really appreciate all of the love and support. If you want to support the channel, just remember that you can start by smashing that thumbs up for me, sharing this content far and wide, and everything else is at my website.